Only 3 races remain until the chase cutoff here in the Wawa Cup Series 2023 season. And we're going to turn everything over on its head here today as we run our second road course of the season in Southern California. It's 25 laps around the 2.5-mile winding road course of Willow Springs in the Western Digital 250 in the 2023 Wawa Cup Series. Hello everybody, this is AG here and welcome to the 18th race of the season and our second road course of the season here in the Wawa Cup Series, and we got back-to-back road courses coming up as we head to Road America next weekend. But today, it's the Willow Springs International Raceway, a track that we have never been to before officially in the Cup Series, and the first ever running of this Western Digital 250. It's going to be a very fascinating race, and a lot of that fascination comes in the championship standings and the chase bubble, and where a lot of these drivers start here today. Of course, with this being a road course, it's going to be a little difficult to work your way from the back to the front. I think we'll see more of it here today at Willow Springs than we did at COTA. A lot of these guys who have had decent seasons starting kind of midway through the pack, and a lot of guys who need good runs starting up front, including our pole sitter, Echo Evans-Ross, who won the first road course race of the season back in March. We'll have to see what she can do in these next 2 races on these 2 road courses. Turn alongside Caleb Rhodes for the call of today's event. And Caleb, your driver, Jared Witkowski, won the Sprint Series race on Wednesday. Your 2 full-time guys start on the inside lane, inside the top 12. What do those guys need to do to get up front and have a good run here today in this Western Digital 250?
Well, something I've seen a lot at Willow Springs is, especially if these guys are going to make multiple stops, they need to get that strategy right. They need to, know when to pit, when to change your tires, how much fuel to put in it. You need to make sure also to change your adjustments, because you never know what something like that could do to your car. But I think this is going to be a really fascinating race today.
No doubt about it. And you mentioned, this may be a 2-stop race. This will be a 2-stop race. Fuel window about 10 to 12 laps for these guys. So we're going to have some guys who are coming down right before the end of this race. Some guys are going to be a little bit earlier on. And I don't think we'll have the confusion like we did at Circuit of the Americas. It's a 2-stop race for everybody. And of course, with this being the road course, no cautions turned on. So if a wreck happens, it happens. And that's another thing to watch out for, because guys like Echo Evans-Ross and Logan Williams, I feel like they have a lot more potential than where they sit in the points right now, and a lot of that is attested to all the issues that they have had. Both of those drivers wrecked out at Gateway last Friday night. Definitely don't want to see that happen to them, considering they're both starting inside the top 5. But in the points standings after that great race that we had at Gateway, what a great event that was in the AAA Missouri 300. Drew Webb with that last lap pass on Nicholas Zambadillo, and I know that's a hard one for you to hear, Caleb, but hey, Drew Webb, 100 points ahead of the cutoff, and all these drivers need, Drew Webb, Thomas Troxel, even Chase Buck, if they're 92 points ahead of that cutoff after today's event, they will clinch a spot into the chase, so that's huge there. Drew Webb starting first half of the field on the inside lane, a good opportunity for him to do that. Thomas Troxel, he starts 24th here today. He's 98 points ahead. Chase Buck starts 20th, 62 points ahead. Nicholas Zambadillo, 57 points ahead. Been a great season, but has yet to get that race victory. He came oh so close last week at Gateway. Couldn't quite pull it off. He starts 11th. Dylan Matthews, 46 points ahead. He starts 21st. LJ Semedo, 34 points ahead. He starts 13th. Good starting position for him. Matt Tuck is 28 points ahead, starting 25th. Aliera is 19 points ahead, starting 7th. Then Tanner Parton, Brad Stover, 16 and 10 points ahead, respectively. Parton starts 16th. Brad Stover's 38th. Not good considering the guy who's right behind him in points starts outside pole. That is Seth Cole, 10 points behind. A great starting position for Ludovic Charette as well. Only 11 points behind the cutoff. He could use a good run. And watch out for Christian Master. That number 43 has definitely come on strong these last few races. Only 20 points behind the Chase cutoff. Rogel Dorn 22 behind. Travis Crampton has had a lot of good runs as of late. Whereas Crampton does start all the way back in the 29th position. Rogel Dorn starts deep in the field as well. They're 22 and 27 behind, respectively. Braden Perez is 30 behind. Trey Wright 37 behind. And then Blaine Keys 39 behind. Those are all the drivers who have a mathematical chance of making it into the top 10 at the end of this race. Over in the wild card, Seth Cole's got it. 17 points ahead, but of course he's 11th in the points, and a good run here today could put him top 10 in points. Rogel Dorn is 5 points ahead. He's been in that wild card position ever since he got that win at Talladega. And then 5 points behind is Travis Crampton. He has gotten a lot of great runs as of late. Braden Perez only 8 points behind that wild card, and then Blaine Keys 17 behind. And our pole sitter, Echo Evans Ross, she needs as many points as she can get. Winning here today is not going to give her an advantage. Of course, Blaine Keys has 2 wins on the season, and he's 17 behind. But Echo Evans Ross 32 behind. The wild card coming into this race. She starts on pole. Have to see what she can do. We'll go ahead and get these guys to roll off here from the Willow Springs International Raceway. Like I mentioned, 25 laps in this race, and it's Echo Evans Ross leading us to the green flag alongside Seth Cole. A couple of winners this season, both in the wild card race. Same with this guy, Braden Perez. Also in that wild card race, winner at Phoenix. Starting at the inside of Sam and Oskin, I'm telling you, that 75 is just lights out in this Cup Series as a Sprint Series driver. Definitely hope to see him full-time at next season. Logan Williams to the inside, Ladovic Charette there in row at number 4. And it's Allier in the number 5, trying to hold on to her spot in the chase alongside Daniel Paulus Jr. Great to see Daniel have a good run in qualifying. Blaine Keys and Joey Hightower round out the top 10 starting positions, and you got Sam Badillo and Vargas there right behind them. A lot of guys who need good runs who are not top 10 in points. As a matter of fact, of all the guys starting top 10 in the point standings, or should I say all the guys starting top 10 in the race, only one of them is top 10 in the point standings. That's Aliera in the number 5. Make sure everyone else is rolling off all right, and they are. Caleb, who do you think is going to get this race victory here in 25 laps and 2 pit stops in this Western Digital 250?
Well, I'm going to go with someone that's relatively on the bubble. I'm going to go with 20 Braden Perez, starting in the second row on the left-hand side. He's been pretty quick in some races this season. I think this is probably one of his home races, so I'm looking at him to maybe get it done today.
And we're going to have to see what he can do. Of course, a race victory would absolutely put him into one of those top 2 positions in the wild card at the very least, considering the amount of points he would get. But I don't know, Seth Cole also looking to get into that top 10. That wildcard race is going to look very different after today. I think the whole chase bubble is going to look different after today. We're just going to have to see how it all goes down. Pace car is down the pit lane. Here we go for 25 laps on the road course. We're green flag racing at Willow Springs International Raceway in the Western Digital 250. Head up the hill here for the first lap. A great start there for Echo Evans Ross, who grabbed that race victory at COTA earlier this season. But she has not been doing well on the ovals as Seth Cole really closes it in down the hill. And Logan Williams finds himself in third. Braden Perez, Sam and Oskin round out the top 5. Make sure everyone had a clean start, and they did. Great to see everyone get through the first few turns cleanly. Echo Evans Ross leading the field in the 39. And it looks like she's going to get the first lap led. Of course, we'll have to see how these final couple of corners go, but Seth Cole trying to close in here. Here comes Logan Williams for second. And Williams getting into Seth Cole off the exit of the corner. We saw that a little bit in the sprint race on Wednesday. That could have been a lot worse than what it ended up being, but thankfully, and especially for your case, Caleb, your driver there of Logan Williams still running, but he's going to lose a couple of positions right there through turn 1.
Yeah, that last corner is a big trouble spot, especially if they go 3 wide off the corner. You can see a lot of contact.
Got side by side right here between Logan Williams and Braden Perez. Williams knows he has to go for it. Only 3 races left to go. He's got his home race next week at Road America. But 21st in points coming into this race. And About 70-some points. I think 75. Yeah, 75 points off the cutoff. He really only can get in if he gets a win and finds his way into that wild card position, and even then he needs the points to get into that wild card, so it's not looking good for Williams. Meanwhile, his teammate has had a good run this season. Of course, almost got the win last week at Gateway, just outside the top 10, running 12th right now for Nicholas Samedeo. Great run for Daniel Paulus Jr. Blaine Keys, one of these guys who needs a good run. He's 17 behind that cutoff in the wild card. A lot of these guys who are battling for the wild card are running up front in this race, including our race leader of Echo Evans-Ross.
Yeah, this is really going to shake up the playoff picture with all these guys and gals running along the wild card spots. Running up here, this is going to be a big shakeup as we see the 61 of Ludovic Charette going after Williams, and here comes Braden Perez on the left, or the right-hand side. They almost went 3 wide.
Yeah, very tight there. Sam Askin in the 75 going 3 wide, looking to go 3 wide, and Perez and Charette right there. Askin's already won a race this season here in the Wawa Cup Series. Got the win at Dover, and once again, your Sprint Series drivers, man, I tell you, they've been doing an excellent job, especially Sam at Askin when it comes to the Cup Series. Great run here for Aliera, and she had her birthday about 10 days ago, so happy birthday to her, and I know she'd love a race victory as a birthday present, but she is definitely holding on to this chase spot. She's been top 10 in points the entire season, has never left the top 10. As a battle right here between Charette and Perez. A great battle here for the 4th position, and it looks like Ludovic's going to get it there in the 61. Samedeo inside the top 10 now as he's gotten around Daniel Paulus Jr. LJ Semedo trying to get a good run as well. These are 2 guys, Samedeo and Semedo, who have very similar names, but are also top 10 in the points coming into this race, so I know need a good run. Really not seeing any of these guys who have been strong this season, like Drew Webb, like Thomas Troxel, really move up through the field. As a matter of fact, Matt Tuck, another struggling run for him right here. All the way down in 30th for Matt Tuck, and he only sits 28 points ahead of the cutoff. That is not at all what he needs in this race. Of course, we got 2 cycles of pit stops here for these guys, so a lot of opportunity on the pit lane to get things to go your way. But I don't know, will anybody get to Echo Evans-Ross? I feel like these road courses are her strong suit this season. I think that's where she's really been focusing a lot of her energy here. We're just going to have to see if she can hold off Seth Cole and Logan Williams as this race goes along.
Yeah, we've seen, Dakota, just how good Echo Evans-Ross is at road courses. She absolutely dominated that race. And right now, she's led the first 4 laps of this one.
Of course, getting those bonus points as well. If she leads the most laps, is another bonus point towards the championship. And of course, she needs all the points she can get as she's 32 behind the cutoff in the wild card. And then 54 behind the regular chase cutoff. Now for Seth Cole, the way things are running right now, he'd easily surpass Brad Stover and may even get the Tanner Parton as well in terms of the regular chase standings. So Seth Cole has a very good opportunity of making it top 10, which is going to open the door for another driver to get that wild card spot if that's the case. Those guys, Tanner Parton, Brad Stover, do not have race victories, so if they fall outside the top 10, they're out of luck. But you get Seth Cole outside of there. That's good news for Rogel Dorn, Travis Crampton, Braden Perez, Blaine Keys, who are all around that bubble for that cutoff in the wild card. Good run here for Aliera on her teammate Blaine Keys. I think it's actually the other way around. I think it's Blaine Keys on his teammate Aliera as Blaine Keys just got dumped by his teammate. Up the hill, that was not at all what Owen Miles wanted to see there. Thankfully for Blaine Keys, he saved it and kept it together. Now under fire from Hightower and Mardi Gras. Wow, that's not good at all.
There's going to be some spicy words probably after this race, and
no doubt about it.
I don't even think that was the only incident because I saw dust on the top of the hill. I wonder if someone went off the lap before.
Let's see. Last time around, it was Echo Evans-Ross, Seth Cole. It looks like everyone kept it together there, so someone else may have gone off. But everyone ahead of that, still on the racetrack, could have been Brad Stover the lap before. Brad Stover, 32 seconds off. See that in the corner of your screen right there. And that's not good for the driver who's 10th in the points. He's got damage to the right side of his race car. That's not good for Brad Stover, as he is definitely in a threatening position to fall outside the top 10. Samedeo here trying to move up through the field. I know he is upset about what happened last week. currently running in the 11th position. We'll have to see if he can stick with these guys, have a good run on the pit lane. Of course, you guys had a great run in the sprint race. You guys have great cars, obviously, as you got 3 of your guys top 11 right now as Blaine Keys tries to get back here on Mardi Gras. Just going to have to see, though, if San Badillo and this Appalachian Motorsports team can find a rebound on the pit lane. Meanwhile, Thomas Troxel, Drew Webb, those two guys top 2 in points, still in their respective positions back here. It's difficult to work your way through the field. Drew Webb still 16th. Troxel is 20th right now and not moving up here. And even though this is one of those places where you tend to see more passing for position, it's still very difficult to work your way from the back to the front. These guys kind of hanging on to their respective positions for the most part.
Yeah, even though this is one of the easier road courses to pass on, it's still a pretty big challenge to get by. And you're seeing, I feel like Thomas Troxel had a lot of speed this season. His trouble has just been his starting positions. As here we go for second, Logan Williams.
Good run here as they head back up the hill. Logan Williams now up to second as he's going to get around Seth Cole. Seth Cole, I should say, going for his second win of the season. Got that win at Darlington, and I think that was the last time you were in the booth with us, Caleb, for that South Carolina Education Lottery 400. And Seth Cole going to try to cross back over on Logan Williams as they go back down the hill. You know, Seth Cole seems to have a lot of speed going down the hill. Interestingly enough, almost got to Echo Evans-Ross at the start of the race. Couldn't quite get to her there, but now we're going to have to see if this 95 can close in on the 39 before the cycle of pit stops begin. The first cycle, I should say, coming around lap 10. Good run for Ludovic Charette, running fourth. This is exactly what he needed coming into this race, and this could easily put him top 10 in points with 2 races left to go. Braden Perez trying to get that wild card here on Rogel Dorn, and he could definitely have a good opportunity at doing that, because both Rogel Dorn and Travis Crampton deep in the field for this race and not having good runs. I think they're both outside or right around the 30th position. Rogel's in 30th, Crampton's in 31st right now. Not good runs for any of those guys. Tough breaks for a lot of these guys back in here, but none of them are really in the chase battle. These 3 guys here are all kind of in the chase battle. Not a good run for Dylan Matthews either. He's deep in the field in the 47 machine. Way down there in 27th. And let's see if some other guys. Christian Master, who's 13th in points coming into this race. Not the best of runs for him either. That's 22nd. And then Troxel, he's struggling in this race, interestingly enough. 19th right now. Just not at all finding the speed that we have seen out of these Pacific Racing cars. I mean, Pacific Racing as a whole not doing too well here. And, it's a tight battle in that Owners' Championship between Titan Fury Racing and Pacific Racing. And both of the Titan Fury cars running better than the Pacific Racing cars right now. But the Appalachia car is looking really strong. As Logan Williams closing in here on Echo Evans-Ross for the race lead.
Oh, this is going to get good. We're almost getting to the first cycle of pit stops, maybe in a lap or two. Have to see if that 95 can maybe catch up to the 39 before that cycle starts.
Going to be interesting to see if Logan Williams does make that pass. If he can make this pass on Echo Evans-Ross before that cycle begins, Logan Williams could definitely be the guy to beat in this race, and it's going to be fascinating to see if he does get that win, because that's going to put him in the wild card race, even though he's a little ways behind. If he can get the win here, have a good run next week at Road America, he could still have a shot when we get to Nashville in 2 weeks for the cutoff race in the Cracker Barrel 400. It's very interesting, the fact that this chase, or this regular season, is ending with 2 road courses back-to-back in the penultimate races. And we're seeing completely different faces up front in this road course race that's going to shake up this entire championship picture. And definitely fascinating to see how it's all going to look once we're done here today. Of course, we haven't even gotten to the first cycle of pit stop, so I don't think we're quite seeing the full picture of this Western Digital 250 quite yet. But Echo Evans-Ross has led every single lap so far in this race. Logan Williams, however, with a lot of strength at the later part of this run, closing in on this 39, and all these guys still right on each other here as we're on lap 10.
Yeah, they've strung out, but they've not strung out a crazy amount, because Seth Cole's only about a little over a second behind. The 61's right behind him. Ludovic Charette might actually try to attack Seth Cole here soon if he can get close enough.
At 61 with a good run in this race. Braden Perez still top 5 as well. Sam Odoskin is 6th. Great run for the Sprint Series driver. Great run for Allie. She's 7th there in the number 5 machine. She needs that run. The Kind of put a buffer there heading into the next race. You got Brady Mardi Gras in 8th. Hasn't been a good season for Mardi Gras, but good run for him in this one. Sam Medeo is now 9th in the 59. He's gotten around Blaine Keys. I watch out for Sam Medeo in this race. I feel like that may be one of the strongest cars. As a matter of fact, of all the guys top 10, he's highest in the points. And Sam Medeo with a great opportunity and maybe finally getting his first win of the season. We'll just have to see if that in fact happens. But Echo Evans Ross, she's hard to beat on these road courses, and ever since we left COTA, kind of circled these 2 races as races that she may be strong at, and she got her first pole of the season finally in this race. We'll have to see if she can capitalize on that and get the race victory. We'll see if she comes down the pit lane here. Lap number 10, and she will.
Yes, she is.
So she's one of the early takers here. Ludovic Charette's going to stay out, and Ludovic's going to lead a lap. And going to be interesting to see how this ends up shaking out. Who's going to get the advantage here, the early comers or the later comers? And you got Mardi Gras and Yera and Sam Medeo battling there. But Echo Evans Ross leading us down the pit lane. We'll see what she does here on her cycle of pit stops.
Yeah, I'd probably definitely take tires and fill that thing up with fuel. And if your car's not handling right, adjust it.
For she has led every lap so far, so wouldn't imagine they're going to change much on that machine because it has been fast here today at Willow Springs. She's not going to lead every single lap. Going to be tight, though, with Logan Williams. Logan Williams has a lot of momentum off the pit lane, and I mean a lot of momentum. And he's going to go to the inside. That could be the pass for the race lead once this cycles through. Logan Williams made that look easy. He didn't beat her off the pit lane, but had the speed coming off right there. And the 95 trying to hold off. They're still side by side, though, as Echo comes back in the 39.
Oh, it's going to be a good battle here. Logan's trying to fight her going up the hill. I think Echo's going to have the advantage going into this corner. Logan's going to try to fight on the outside, but Echo's going to clear him.
How about that? Great jump there up the hill for Echo Evans Ross ahead of Logan Williams. Seth Cole not too far behind. Blaine Keys, Perez, and Ozkin. We're going to see a lot of these guys who stayed out coming down this time. Some guys in the back actually still staying on another lap. Matt Tuck included in that. So those guys trying a different strategy. And the driver who led these guys down was Ludovic Charette. We'll see where he comes out in relation to everybody else. Sam Medeo there as well. Now, once we get later on in the run, I think that's when we're going to see some of these guys have the advantage on those guys who ended up just coming down. But a great stop there out of Ludovic Charette. Very great stop out of Ludovic Charette. I'm wondering, did he go 2 tires?
I think he might have went 2 tires.
Oh, that's going to be fascinating. Very fascinating, because Echo Evans Ross took 4, and she is out of here. She's pulled away from Logan Williams. LJ Semedo with a great run. He jumped up quite a bit. Blaine Keys, Braden Perez there. Tanner Parton now top 10 after all that. Sam Medeo actually lost a few positions there, but I think he went 4 tires, so we're going to have to see how this strategy works out for Ludovic Charette, who's now out front. This is such a power move. If Ludovic wins this race, he has that win, as he's right on that cutoff to fall back on the wild card if he needs to, and this could go a long, long ways in terms of shaking up this championship battle. Definitely intrigued to see if he can, in fact, pull it off here in the 61 for Andrews Racing. Gonna have that advantage on Echo Evans Ross. Logan Williams is 3rd. LJ Semedo and Seth Cole. Of course, we still have some guys who have yet to come down the pit lane. Here's the 3rd cycle, led by Drew Webb, who won last week, trying to get something to go his way in terms of strategy in this race. Of course, he comes into this race the points leader, so he does have some wiggle room to try something different. And we'll see what he does. It looks like Drew Webb's going to go 4 tires there on his stop. And Ludovic Charette is going to easily beat all of these drivers off the pit lane, so those guys are not going to be a factor. But they're going to be up front until the end of this race, I do believe. They're going to have to make a second stop, but that second stop for those guys who just came down is going to be right around the white flag lap. So it's going to be interesting to see if they pull off fuel only right at the end of the race and maybe get out ahead of our race leaders. But Ludovic Charette cycles to the race lead off strategy, but Echo Evans Ross is coming fast in this 39, and I think she's going to take this race lead coming down the hill.
Yeah, Echo is on rails right now. That just shows you how good 4 fresh tires is. Logan's also trying to stay with her as he almost lost control of the car there.
And all 3 of them now right on each other. You know, this has brought Logan Williams back in because Echo couldn't get around Ludovic down the hill, and that brought the 95 right back in to the fray here for the race lead. Of all three of these guys, Ladovic has had the best season. He sits 12th in the point standings coming into this race, only 11 behind the cutoff of Brad Stover. I don't think it's going to hold on to the race lead for too much longer, though. Here comes Echo Evans-Ross, and she's going to lead lap 13. We're now halfway in this Western Digital 250 at Willow Springs, and Echo Evans-Ross back out front of the 39 for Hamill Racing Enterprises. Where's Brad Stover deep in the field, 39th right now. That's really good news for guys like Seth Cole and Ladovic Charette. I think a good run here will put both of them inside the top 10. Tanner Parton, also with a good run. He's 9th right now in the 42 machine. You know, Matt Tuck's the guy, once again, you got to worry about here because he's not having a good run here. He didn't start off with a good run. A lot of those other races earlier in the season, he had a good run going and then had an issue. He's 31st, and he's been 31st or 30th pretty much this entire race. Not at all what Matt Tuck wants with 2 races after today before the cutoff. He's going to fall behind. He's still going to be top 10, I think. But he's going to be right on the bubble to make it in once we get to Nashville if this keeps up. And then Rogel Doran definitely rebounding from where he was. He's now 20th in the 1 machine. He was down in 30th earlier on, so a good pit stop. And for Rogel's case, had a good run. He was going to finish top 10 at Gateway last week and had an issue. And that kept him from having a good run there. And he now sits 22 behind the main cutoff, but 5 points ahead of the wild card cutoff. So it's going to be very interesting. That wild card race is going to be such a fascinating one. Oh no, Thomas Troxel has gained some damage in this one.
Oh.
And Daniel Paulus Jr., Elijah Gordon coming down the pit lane here. I'm wondering if we had a little bit of a shuffle go on or if we're having some strategy because Tanner Parton's down in the 42. And they can make it from here. So this is interesting. I think Tanner Parton's trying a little bit of strategy here to maybe get an advantage. Matt Tuck is also down the pit lane. And you know, he's got to do something here. But it looks like Matt Tuck may have an issue.
Oh, no. Zidell's down the pit lane as well.
Or he may have been topping off on fuel.
Might have been a gas and go. Oh, Eric Monaco's got some big damage.
Monaco has damage in the 41 machine. We'll try to go back and replay what we can. Trey Wright. Hey, you know, we'll replay that one for you. Logan Williams has taken the race lead here at Willow Springs. The 3rd different leader of this race here in this Western Digital 250.
Well, ain't that something?
Something right there.
I hate that we missed that, lost in all the chaos, but
I'm wondering, you know, if they got around this 48. Here we go, more guys. Ladovic Charette, LJ Semedo. So what they did, I think this is fascinating. I think these are guys who took 2 tires. We're coming back down, getting the tires again. You know, they're going to be good to go at this point. Like I said, 10 to 12 laps. They're going to be able to stretch it from here. But very, very interesting strategy play for these guys here at Willow Springs. And this is where the pit crew ratings come into play. And we're much deeper into the season now than we were at COTA. So we're seeing some very interesting things go on here. Blaine Keys and the 55 as well. Christian Vargas down. LJ Semedo, Ladovic Charette were 2 guys who had an advantage off that first cycle. They're done. Here's Tanner Parton blending in with these guys. Semedo fell back a little bit right there. Keys gonna... Ooh, that's tight right there. Keys gonna fall back. Rogel Dorn also came down with strategy right there as well. And once again... Man, I tell you, we shouldn't knock off of these guys because once again, and it looks like they may have had contact. Echo Evans-Ross and Logan Williams, and Williams has a ton of damage in this 95, and Echo has a lot of damage, and they're going to have to repair that when they get to the pit lane. This is going to really get fascinating now. You saw that in the corner of your screen. That's the thing about these road courses. You just can never keep track of everything that goes on, and that probably happened up the hill. As Echo Evans-Ross tried to get the pass made on Williams and did not do so cleanly. And they both got caught up now 3 seconds behind Logan Williams is. And you got Seth Cole, Braden Perez, and Sam Manaskin. I've been talking a lot here, Caleb. Do you know what the heck's going on now here at Willow Springs?
No. This is getting harder and harder to keep track of. There's so much stuff going on. Don't know where to look.
Now, I will say... You know, with the damage that Echo Evans-Ross has, and even Logan Williams, Ladovic Charette may be in a good position to steal this win now. Because that 61 relatively has a clean racetrack in front of him. He doesn't have any damage to his race car. Tanner Parton with a good run. LJ Cimento. These are three guys who could be fighting for a championship in 3 weeks' time once we get to Chicagoland. Easily could be doing so because they're good to go. They do not have to come back down the pit lane again in this race. The only downside is once we get to that later part of the run, assuming that Echo Evans Ross, Logan Williams, and Seth Cole all take tires, they're going to be much faster than they are at the end of the run. But we'll have to see if they do take tires, because I think the 39 is going to have to come and repair damage. It's the way the game works. Logan Williams is absolutely going to have to repair damage. Look at that thing. Seth Cole, however, has a clean race car. Braden Perez and Sam Askin here, top 5 right now. Alley is 6th, then you got Sam Idio. Chase Buck in 8th. Drew Webb is 9th now in the 99 machine. And then Brady Mardi Gras in 10th. Now keep in mind, a lot of guys who were top 10 after the first cycle of pit stops came down a second time. So we're a bit off cycle right now to how they're going to end up finishing in this race. So where these guys are running currently isn't particularly where they're going to finish in this race. Thomas Troxel there. I think he also went on that same strategy.
Oh, he's
as well.
got damage.
He's trying to close back in on those guys and try to clinch a spot into the chase. That's what Drew Webb and Thomas Troxel are trying to do, as Eric Monaco absolutely off the pace in the 41. And these guys trying to get around him. And I think they had trouble getting around Brad Stover. I mean, I think they did, but I don't know. Stover's a lap down now on that 48 machine. I don't know what happened between those guys. You guys obviously saw that in the corner of your screen. It got very interesting between Echo Evans Ross and Logan Williams, but so I have to see. Williams did get a bonus point for leading a lap right there. Hey, we got ourselves 7 laps to go here in this Western Digital 250. Echo Evans Ross, Logan Williams, Seth Cole, they still have to make their second stop in this race. Ludovic Charette does not have to make another stop. He is 36 seconds behind our race leader. We'll have to see if that is close enough for him to surpass Echo Evans Ross and maybe steal this win away.
This is going to get good. I really don't know what's going to happen.
I know you want to see Logan Williams get this win. It's been a tough season for Williams, especially considering how strong of a driver he is, on how strong of a team he's got. Sam Idio trying to get a good run. How about Drew Webb in this race? Definitely starting to come back to his own as the points leader of this series. The way things currently run, he would remain the points leader. Of course, he needs 92 points on the cutoff to officially clinch a spot in the chase. I think it's pretty safe to say that Drew Webb and Thomas Troxel are going to be in the chase. But we'll have to see how it all ends up shaking out. I'd imagine next time around, we'll probably see Echo Evans Ross, Logan Williams come down. Here comes Sam and Oskin.
Oh, here comes Oskin.
So Oskin's the first one. Now remember, Oskin won that race at Dover on pit strategy, and this is perfect for him right here, because he could pull something out of his hat here. If he has a good pit stop and gets out ahead of Ludovic Charette, he may have an advantage. We're just going to have to find out and see. 4-second lead right now for Echo Evans Ross here in this Western Digital 250. And it will be tires here for Sam and Oskin. Of course, still 6 laps to go in this race, so you absolutely want to have tires with 6 to go here. Looks like he's only going to go right sides, though, on that 75. And, oh boy, that was tight right there. Ludovic just barely got around him, but Oskin's going to have those fresher tires compared to the 61, so that could get a little dicey right there. We'll have to see where Oskin comes out in relation. You got to think, he was a little ways behind Echo Evans Ross and Logan Williams there when he came down the pit lane, as Brad Stover, who clearly took a pit stop after Echo Evans Ross, running faster at the time, being going to get his lap back right there, but for Stover's case, he's still deep in the field. And meanwhile, Chris Reynolds out of the race in the 18 machine. You saw what happened to him right there in the corner of your screen. Here we go. Echo Evans Ross down. Logan Williams is down. Seth Cole, Braden Perez. Final stop for our race leaders. Where will Ludovic Charette file in relation to all these guys? This is going to get very tight off the pit lane with 5 laps to go.
And another thing to factor in is if these guys and gals do have to fix damage, this is definitely going to result in a slower pit stop.
It absolutely will. Right sides for Echo.
Right sides.
And there's the damage repair. It wasn't too long on the 39.
Oh, but Logan.
Here's the thing, though. Ludovic's been on those slower tires, and he's going to get around Seth Cole, but Echo clear out and ahead in that 39 machine. But Logan had a really just as you said, he had to repair that damage. There was too much on that car, and he's going to fall behind. Tanner Parton on Seth Cole for third. Good run for Tanner in this race. Now, there's still a couple of guys who have yet to make their stop. Remember those guys who had the later stop. Right now, the race leader is Aliera in the 5. She still has to make a second stop. Now, this is where things get interesting. Does Yera, Samadeo, Drew Webb? I mean, Samadeo and Webb, I think, can take a chance. Chase Buck, these three guys can kind of take a chance and go field only and see what happens. And I would especially do that if I was Nicholas Samadeo. They're going to stay out yet another lap, and I think the longer these guys can stay out, the more of an opportunity they are going to have at going field only on the last stop and stealing this win away from Echo Evans-Ross. And Aliera in the number 5, going to get a bonus point towards the championship for leading a lap right there. These 5 guys all on each other right here. And meanwhile, Echo Evans-Ross coming back around. She now has 4 laps to go. Tanner Parton has closed in on Ludovic Charette. And Tanner's going to get a position here on the 61. That 42 looking pretty quick right now.
Charette tried to block that momentum, but Parton just crossed her over to the left-hand side. And he's going to take that spot away. But, Charette's going to fight back. He's not quite got it yet.
That 61 going to hold on.
Charette's going to take it back.
And that's good news for Echo. But, let's see here. She has... Oh, she's got 20 seconds on these guys. I don't think these guys are going to be able to gas and go and get ahead of that 39. And there's no way that Yera and Samadeo and Drew Webb can make it to the end. But for these top 4 guys, you know, are all top 10 in points. They want to get as many points as they possibly can in this race. So they have a buffer in the last 2 races before the cutoff. They're going to come down right here. Aliera, Nicholas Samadeo, Drew Webb's going to stay out. And Drew Webb's going to get a bonus point towards the championship right there. But I do not see these guys getting any sort of advantage on Echo Evans-Ross. But I would try the fuel only. I don't think you're going to lose too many positions if it doesn't go your way. We'll see what she can do here in the 5 machine, looking for a 3rd win of the season. And it will be a fuel-only stop for Aliera in the 5, but Echo's going to drive right by in the 39 machine. So will Ludovic, so will Tanner. And they're going to come out probably just around the 8th position right there. But now Drew Webb out front. Fisher G is 2nd. Andrew Miller is yet to come down. Roberto Crown Jr., Sebastian Kukulon, and Drew Webb. Laura Chung as well. All those guys still have to make their 2nd stop in this race. But how about Echo Evans-Ross? And I don't think this is going to particularly put her in a position where she can easily put her way into the wild card, but it's going to help her out. And she's going to get the most points out of this one compared to all these other drivers. Be 2 laps to go this time by. Drew Webb's going to try to stretch it here.
Again.
And Fisher G, Andrew Miller down. Roberto Crown Jr. down. Kukulon coming down the pit lane. I don't know. It's 2 laps for Drew Webb here. This would be something if he could pull this off. I don't think it's going to happen, though.
I wonder if he's trying, though. He's going really slow through the corners. I wonder if he's got the buffer. He's giving it a shot. Maybe
100 points on the cutoff. You know, if he loses, I mean, he could risk. You know, I don't think he's going to risk losing a chase spot, but you definitely want to get that regular season championship. If he could pull this one off, that would be something else. I don't think he's going to be able to make it. Meanwhile, Seth Cole's trying to get on LJ Samedo back in here. Tanner Parton fell back in the 42 just a little bit. But still going to be a great run for Tanner. Going to be a great run for Braden Perez, Aliera, Nicholas Samadeo, and Chase Buck. Great runs for those. How about Bruno Diacomo here in the 96? Finally made it into a cup race for only the second time this season, driving for NS Racing. I think he's top 10 right now in that 96 machine. Great run for him there for NS Racing. And here we go. Drew Webb, will he stay out as we're coming to the white flag here in this Western Digital 250? Yeah, he's not going to be able to make it. I didn't think that was going to happen. And Echo Evans-Ross going to take the white flag officially. You know what? I think Drew Webb might get the last lap here. Or should I say the penultimate lap of this race, and he will. Ludovic is 2nd. Seth Cole is 3rd. LJ Samedo with a great run. Sam and Oskin still battling for a top 5, but it's Echo Evans-Ross for Hamill Racing Enterprises looking to get her 2nd win of the season here. 4.5 seconds on Ludovic Charette. So it's going to take an engine blowing or something catastrophic happening for Ludovic to get this win, or Seth Cole. Seth Cole may end up getting the second here before this race is over. And right there, those guys are separated by 1 point, and it could be the cutoff between those two guys once we get to Nashville. But Echo Evans-Ross, she's got these road courses figured out. The fastest car, the best strategy, everything went her way. And Logan Williams may have something else to say about that. But regardless of the fact, it's going to be the second win of the season for Echo Evans-Ross and Hamill Racing Enterprises.
Echo is still showing that she might just be the queen of road courses this season.
Absolutely, and we're going to see how she can do next week at Road America. Right now, it's 2 for 2. And this 39 team on the left and right hand turns in the Wawa Cup Series. Echo Evans-Ross coming out of the final corner is going to get her second win of the season in the Wawa Cup Series. She wins the Western Digital 250 at Willow Springs. Second place is going to be Ludovic Charette. What a much-needed run for this team here in terms of the championship. Seth Cole, LJ Cimento, Sam and Oskin again with a top 5. Braden Perez, great run for Tanner Parton. He needed that one. Drew Webb's going to finish 8th, and Drew Webb has clinched a spot into the Wawa Cup Series chase. Nicholas Samadio, 9th, and then Chase Buck rounds out the top 10. Great run for Aliera. Bruno Diacomo, 12th. Fisher G, 13th. Troxel finishing 14th in the number 62. And guys that absolutely had terrible runs. Matt Tuck, 36th. That may actually take him outside of the top 10, considering just how good of a run everyone except Stover had behind him. Christian Master in the 43, not a good run for him either. He was starting to creep up there. He's 28th in this race, so this is going to get very, very fascinating because so many guys who were on the bubble had a good run, including our race winner of Echo Evans-Ross for her second win of the season. She is, let me see here. She is the 6th driver to win multiple races this season, but we have yet to have a driver win 3 times this year, which I find very fascinating. That could change next week if Echo has another solid run on the road course and gets it done there in the Storm Bowling 370, or Storm Bowling 400K, I should say, at Road America. Well, Caleb, I didn't get much of a chance to have you talk during this race because just so many things were going on, trying to figure it all out. Echo Evans-Ross, though, clearly the best driver here at Willow Springs, and do you think she has an opportunity at getting that last wild card, especially if she gets a good run at Road America next week?
Yeah, I mean, I think she has got a lot of momentum the last couple of weeks, so if she could just lay down a couple more good runs, I think she'd not be in good position to get that last wild card spot.
It's going to be interesting. That Road America race, I think, is going to play out a little bit differently than what we've seen. Just the nature of that road course, going to be, I don't know. I just don't know. I'm actually surprised that Echo did as well as she did in this race, considering just how much she's struggled as of late on the ovals, but I think that's a lot to be said about the ratings on the tracks themselves. I'm just going to leave it at that. Obviously only 4 road courses on the season, so not everyone really focusing on the road course rating. But with the 2 road courses being right at the end of the regular season, that may play in the Echo's favor here, and we're just going to have to see how it ends up shaking out. Like I mentioned, drivers who are kind of on the bubble there. I mean, Matt Tuck came in 28 ahead. He ain't going to be 28 ahead of the cutoff after this one. He may not even be in. Look, Seth Cole, Ludovic Charette, they're both going to move their way in. Yera and Parton had good runs. I think Matt Tuck's going to be right on the edge there, but not at all what that 54 team wanted. I mean, terrible day for Grattan Autosport. Brad Stover did not have a good run. He's going to fall outside the top 10 because of that right there. Dylan Matthews finished 20th, so I feel like for Matthews, he's pretty much safe. And then Cimento with another good run in that 71. I mean, Titan Fury Racing has just been, lights out. And they're actually going to gain some points on Pacific Racing in the owner's title. Of course, there's no chase for the owner's title. That's strict points all the way to the end of the season. It's going to be fascinating with those guys. Drew Webb clinching a spot, and Thomas Troxel, I think it's safe to say he clinched a spot into the chase as well after this race. And then Chase Buck, Nicholas Samadio, top 10 runs here today. Looking good for them, looking good for Dylan Matthews, LJ Semedo, and then Aliera Tanner Parton as well. All those guys had good runs in this race. But Caleb, final thoughts on this one here from Willow Springs, and what do you think we're going to see next week at Road America? A completely different road course from Willow Springs, but still a road course. Do you think Echo Evans-Ross is going to have the advantage next week?
Well, I remember saying at the end of the Sprint Series race that this race would probably have more action and more chaos, and yeah, I think that was kind of right.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But it was a good race, and next week is going to be really interesting because Road America's, it's a road course, but it's a completely different course, so it's going to be interesting next week to see what these guys can do.
Absolutely. And the first time we've been there in the Cup Series since 2019. We haven't actually done a Cup race on that wonderful road course in 4 years. As a matter of fact, the Real Life Cup Series had actually gone there twice, and now they're not even there anymore. But we're back in the Wawa Cup Series next Saturday at noon Eastern Time for the Storm Bowling 400K from Road America. That's going to be a great one. And then the regular season finale 2 weeks from today from the Nashville Super Speedway and the Cracker Barrel 400. Two very unique racetracks coming up here to end out the regular season. And you guys are going to see the points here with 2 races remaining until the cutoff here in the Wawa Cup Series. Thank you guys so much for watching. Huge congratulations to Echo Evans-Ross for a dominating performance here at Willow Springs. And we will see you guys next week from Road America for the 19th race of the season. Thank you to Cale Rose for joining me for the call of today's event. Here are the point standings for the Wawa Cup Series after 18 races. See you guys next week for the Storm Bowling 400K. I will see you guys later.